Hello and thank you for joining me. Hope you're all well. For those new to the channel, my name is Alan and today's video is having a look at what's inside my Bergen. It's not necessarily a bug out bag or a bushcraft bag, but it could be anything, and it will give you an idea of what I've packed and also how I've packed it. Stay with me. This is a bag. It's the Dutch Army Bergen. It's in Dutch DPM, which is very much like a British DPM. It is a bulletproof bag, triple stitched, fully adjustable back system so that you can make sure that you're carrying the weight correctly, substantial hip belt, lots of padding. Main compartment is around 50-55 litres, and then it also comes with, or I should say it comes with, you may have to purchase them separately, a pair of rocket pouches. These are a further 10 litre per side and they just zip on. It also has a separate harness so you can put the two rocket pouches together as a day pack with the harnesses and go off for a wander, leaving that behind. It is a very heavy bag, so don't be under any illusions that it's a lightweight pack. This is, I believe, around 3 kilos, so it's nice. There's sort of 6 pounds on your back before you put anything in it. But as I say, triple stitched, extremely hard wearing. I can load this up with more gear than I can physically carry, and the stitching and everything else is 100%. What I like about the bag is that it gives me, because it can increase the capacity, you can pretty much pack it for anything. When I say anything, I'm talking about a 1 or a 2 nighter up to easily a week, 7 days, and that's including food in there. But in saying that, especially at my age and my level of fitness, because I will stick my hand up, I wouldn't want to go hiking over anything more than a few miles with it, to be totally honest. And if it was being used as a bushcraft bag, or even just, you know, 1 or 2 overnighter, going to sneak down to your local nature reserve, you're not walking very far. So just bear that in mind. I'm not a 25-year-old soldier and I do not have that level of fitness. What I have done with the bag, before we actually look at the contents and how I've packed it, is I've added some webbing straps on the side, and that's just enabled me to fit these Dutch Army utility pouches. The reason I've done that is that for the majority of the time, this is a configuration that I like. I don't really have a need to stick the rocket pouches on there, and to be fair, the more storage space I've got, I'm trying to fill it up with rubbish, stuff that I'm probably not really likely to need, and that of course all adds to the weight. But the pouches are at one either side, and that takes a 1 litre water canteen. For where I am in the UK, yes, it rains a lot, but I still wouldn't particularly trust any natural, you know, streams or rivers to be drinking that because of the levels of chemicals in there. So as a rule, I'm lugging 2 litres minimum of water with me if I decide to venture out. Obviously, if I'm going over to Wales or on the Bergen or anywhere like that, it's an entirely different matter. You haven't got to carry as much water because the water's available, but you do need to pack for what you expect. And if you can't get water, you need to carry it. Anyway, enough of my waffling. So let's have a look at the contents. Side pocket, as I say, Dutch Army utility pouch. Fastex fastener, also got Velcro on there. And what is good, there's a piece of material that hinges over the Velcro to stop you using the Velcro, because if you want to be all tactical and you don't want the noise, you've just got a Fastex. If you don't mind, you can just peel the backing off, tuck it inside, and then it will seal in addition to the Fastex with the Velcro, but obviously there's noise when you open it. The pouches have a gusseted lid, and then there is loads and loads of space in there. I can get my fist in here just to give you an idea of the load capacity. So there is just the copy of the GI cup, canteen cup, and a 1 litre Nalgene. And right at the bottom is just the lid. Other side, exactly the same pouch, same design. A fuel bottle, nothing in there at the moment. I like using meths. 8-ounce fuel bottle. And then there is another 1 litre Nalgene. The stove is a genuine issue US part. It is slightly too small to fit my mug because my mug isn't the genuine item. So to store it, I just slide it onto the Nalgene and it's out of the way, no rattle. So that is the full content of the side pouches. I could put extra in there, but 2 water bottles, and that's where you can see now how flat they fold, and that then enables a rocket pouch to fit over the top with these zips. Top lid pouch. First aid kit. There's a trauma bandage in it. It's not a first field dressing. Yeah, it's not an easy bandage. It is a civilian trauma bandage. And there are bandages in there and some tablets. It's not a boo-boo kit, as the Yanks will call it. It's not, it's not a minor. This is more dealing with sort of breaks and cuts. There is some packing gauze in there, which people might think, oh, why you got that? Quite a few years ago, we were in a forest over on Bergen, and it's like conifers, for want of a better word, and it had been used quite extensively, probably as a training area, and some of the lower branches had been snapped off, and they were at head height, and they were like at 90 degrees to the main trunk of the tree, and where they'd been snapped off. In the dark, if you walked into one, it'd be like being stabbed in the face. So I don't expect to get stabbed, but the packing gauze is in there for that sort of eventuality. So anyway, first aid kit. Next item that's out is this little thing. It's the size of a cooking apple, and it is very squidgy and compressible. It is made from Pertex. It is a wind shirt or a wind jacket. This one is made by a company called Reed. It is windproof, water resistant, weighs absolutely nothing, and as you saw how small it packs, but it's in the top. If you stop to get a brew on and just starting to cool off, the wind's whipping around your lug holes, this comes out, goes over the top, nice and toasty. Then when you're ready to set off again, this comes off, goes back in the bag. That's it in that top compartment. Open it up, the first thing that's on the top is a waterproof jacket. This is just a Peter Storm Kagul type. It's not Gore-Tex, I've got Gore-Tex, but it is getting into mentality that if you're only going to go and do an overnighter, 1 or 2, and you've looked at the weather forecast and it's not torrential rain, then you can get away with something like this. If it's going to be stormy and absolutely piddling down for days on end, then I'd put a Gore-Tex jacket in there. So again, it's just having the forethought to actually plan what you need and to pack accordingly. But either way, waterproof jacket right on the top, because if it rains, that's the first thing I want. Don't want to open the bag up, because contents get wet. There's then a second pouch within the lid, and in here is a small hygiene kit. Again, if I was just going for one night or even 2 nights potentially, over the local nature reserve or the park where there's some woods to do a little bit of, a stealth camp, something like that, would I take this? Probably not. I don't mind being dirty or smelly for a day because I know that I'm then going to be coming home. If I'm going to be away for a longer period of time, then okay, might not want to use a deodorant because then everyone else will smell you, but having the old toothbrush and toothpaste in there, etc., is quite useful. And there's also a packet of wet wipes in there if you fancy having a squaddy wash. There's a glasses case, donkey's years old this one. It's held together with black insulating tape because it burst. It's made by Night Eyes. It's just a hard case for glasses. There's nothing in there. The reason I pack it is I'm a full-time glasses wearer, and if I'm going to get my head down, I'm not going to be sleeping in my glasses. But I want to put them somewhere secure that they're not going to get damaged. So that is literally, they just go in here. It's got a belt hook on it that's okay, but I also put a little bit of paracord and a crab on there just so I can clip it on, because worst case scenario is I lose them and then whilst I can see, it's not, I can't see a great deal. Next item that's in the top, it's just something I think that's unique to me. I've not known of anyone else carrying it or using it for the purpose that I use it, but it's something I use quite frequently. I like the way I can utilise it. And it is a folding water bowl. Originally I had a Webtex one, which was cheap, perfectly serviceable. This is a Dutch surplus item, capacity slightly bigger. For what I use it for, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it is a collapsible water bowl. So I suppose if you take your dog with you when you're camping, then it'd be useful. If you're out for weeks on end and you want to wash, it's useful. But what I use it for, because it's waterproof and it folds up, is when I'm going to get my nut down, I literally open that up and it sits beside me. And I put my mobile phone in there and the contents of my pockets, because I don't really want them in my pockets when I'm trying to sleep because it's stabbing me and all the rest of it. But I want the items in here, it's waterproof, so if it does get a little bit flooded, the ground through runoff or that, my gear isn't going to get damaged because it's in a waterproof container, and if I need it, I know exactly where everything is because it's in there. Right, now we're going to go into the main compartment. Drawstring, and as always, little cheap LED photon type light attached to the drawer cord, just so that if it's dark I can use it to see the inside of my bag. Although in all fairness, you should have a system where you know where everything is anyway. So next item that comes out, and it's in the top, is shelter, because you're going to get to where you're going to camp. At some point you're going to want to put your basher up. So this is a Dutch Army poncho in here that I've modified. Quick deploy ridgeline and everything else. The pegs are even attached to the poncho, so if you had to break it down in a hurry because you're camping where you're not meant to be, there's less chance of leaving sign or losing your pegs. So there's a poncho. Just under a kilo, so it's quite heavy for what it is, but it is pretty much bigger than the conventional military type ponchos. So again, if the weather's a bit crap, it's probably going to have this one in. If I'm going for a longer period, I won't have this, I'll stick a DD 3x3 in there. Or if it's just an overnighter, I've got a mil-spec poncho which is smaller and weighs almost half the weight of this, and that would go in. So again, you sort of plan for what you're going to be doing and pack accordingly. After the shelter's out, there's a dry bag. Haven't got to use dry bags, could use a rubble sack, double up bin bags, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much rucksack manufacturers claim that their gear is waterproof, it really isn't. So open the dry bag. First thing that's sitting in the top is my grab bag. This is not a survival kit as such. It's more of an admin bag. And what I do is I put this to one side, and then if I think we're going to have enough time, I'll go through the contents of it. The idea being of an admin bag, if I set up camp, everything I need, sort out my feet, spare batteries, everything, even my brew kit, it's just in a little grab bag. Hasn't got, this is a snug back response bag that I've had for quite a few years. Hasn't got to be this, could be anything that you want to use, but it's a good idea to have all your odds and sods in a bag at the top. So if you want it, it's here. Next in is another dry bag, and this has got grub in it. I have just put some items in here to give you an idea. They don't stay in the bag, and it's not necessarily what I'll take. I will choose what I want to take depending on how long I'm going and also how far I've got to travel. But there would be things like cereal bars, assortment of condiments, etc, etc, and some wet meals. As I say, you might not pack these, you can take food out of your cupboard that you've got at home, or dehydrated stuff. I've just put food in there so you can see that's in my food pouch. And then at the bottom of the food pouch are a few Ziploc bags, and their sole purpose is that once I've eaten the food, the rubbish goes in the Ziploc, goes back in here, and I take it home with me, and then I can dispose of it responsibly. So that's food pouch. Next up, got a bit of a warm layer. This is a down puffy. It will compress smaller, but that's fine. These items are not in the bag all the time. Main reason being, down puffer jacket doesn't like to spend long periods of time compressed. It degrades, and they're expensive enough, so why do you want to wreck it? Same goes for your sleep pad. So we have a self-inflated sleep pad. This is from Kit. It doesn't like to be compressed for long periods of time because it damages the insulation inside, which is why you're not using it. You store it open, as in unravelled, and with the valve open, and then you store it. So just that's a reason why this isn't packed all the time, because let's face it, some of this kit's expensive. You know, you're looking at 40, 50 quid for a sleep mat, 60 quid for a puffer jacket. Even your sleeping bag doesn't like to be stuck and compressed for long periods of time. So it's a lot of money to potentially damage, yeah, or waste because you've got it compressed and stored for long periods of time. But you already knew that, so I shut up moaning. Schmog could be used as a towel, scarf, loads of uses for it. Would I take one every time I go out? No. Yeah, you decide what you think you need or what you need and you take. Woolly hat and a head over. Even in the summer, I'll have a woolly hat. Perhaps not this one, I've got a thin merino wool one. This one's double layer wool, extremely warm, and a neck over. But I will always have a neck over and some sort of benny hat, regardless of the weather, because overnight it cools down and I will often sleep in it. Next item out is one pair of socks. I know you can say why only one pair, but bear with me. These are my sleeping socks. So when it's time to get my nut down, boots off, socks off, because potentially they're going to be sweaty or damp. Don't want to put them in my sleeping bag. So I have a nice clean, soft wool pair of socks that I wear when I sleep. When I wake up in the morning, I take them off. If I can let them air for a little while, I will do. Other than that, they're just for keeping in. Then bivvy bag with the sleeping bag already in it. I just find it packs easier. The whole lot just goes into the bag, compresses down. So sleeping bag, again, pick one that is suitable for the time of the year. And then finally, right at the bottom, so it's underneath the sleeping bag, is another dry bag. In here is a pair of trousers, undercrackers, socks and a t-shirt. So it's a complete change of clothing. Again, if I was just going out for one night or even 2 nights, I wouldn't bother taking them unless I was, I don't know, unless I thought there was a good chance of me getting completely soaked. So again, it's looking at the weather. But I wouldn't necessarily take all of these if I'm just going for an overnighter. Because to be fair, I don't mind wearing my undercrackers a little bit longer than I should. And then when I get home, I can have a shower and get changed. Last item out is the German Army folding sleep mat. Absolutely rubbish as a sleep mat, primarily because when you open it up, if you're lucky, it's 5mm thick, yeah, so there is no comfort laying on this. I bought a couple of these many years ago. We're talking over a decade, and I think I paid about £4.50 for each one. On eBay, all I see now are these apparently being sold as new for 30 quid. No way would I spend 30 quid on one, but that's just my opinion. But what I do use it for, I cannot get on with having a sleep mat inside a bivvy bag. I find it too constrictive, don't like it. So I put my sleep mat underneath my bivvy bag, which I find is fine, but the trade-off is that your sleep mat is then prone to getting a puncture on the ground. Some people, and I've used it before, I've used it at a cut down IPK sheet as a ground sheet, but I find this actually works quite well. It's a little bit heavier than a, you know, than a bit of ground sheet, but I just open that up, lay that down, my sleep mat goes on top of it because it's only a 3/4 sleep mat, and then I know this will protect my sleep mat and give me a tiny additional amount of insulation from the ground. But the other thing that I do find it useful for, he says, when he can't fold it up properly, making a right pig's ear of this. You can tell I've done this before, can't you? Right, is that if I just pull it out, if I'm sitting, that is a fantastic sit mat. I can sit on that and it's now 1 inch thick, keeps me bum out the mud, out the water, keeps it a bit warm, or if I'm changing my socks, got something to stand on. So that is the contents of my Bergen. As I say, the loadout will vary depending on what I'm doing or where I'm going. There is no survival kit in there as such. A lot of the survival items, if you want to call it that, are actually carried in my pockets or in the little Helicon Tech sear pouch around my waist. So I've got those items on my body, hence why they're not there. Same as tools. Again, it depends where you're going. If you're going for a wild camp, for instance, and you're, I don't know, on the moors, in the forests of Brecon, in Scotland, you're in the wilderness, as much, you know, as wilderness we've got in the UK. You might then get away, because you're not likely to bump into people, with carrying your fixed blades and everything else. If you're going to go over the nature reserve or the local woods for a night, technically you shouldn't be there because you're trespassing. And if you've got a fixed blade with you and someone has seen you and calls a plod, then potentially you're going to be in even more trouble. So for an overnighter, do you really need it? If you've got your pocket knife or a multi-tool with you, do you need the fixed blade just for an overnighter, you know, in the local nature reserve or the woods? So that's why there's no tool shown here. Again, you decide where you're going and then pack accordingly. If you think you're going to be processing loads of wood, then you're going to have a folding saw or an axe. If you don't anticipate having to process loads of wood, then you don't really need to be carrying an axe. But that's, you know, that's just my opinion. It depends where you're going and the scenario you foresee from it. So it's for, you know, it's planning in advance. Anyway, I know you're all falling asleep by now. So I'm going to wrap this video up. As always, thank you for watching. If you like the content, give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, and I'd love to read your comments. The contents of the admin bag I will do as a separate video, and I'll probably release that perhaps midweek. Take care, enjoy your weekend, and thank you.